get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the play. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the play. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the play. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the play. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas better leave me alone. Talking about niggas is low. Run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I make that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the gang. And we put it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight. Cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day. They still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't. I'm rolling up loud, it's great. But mama, she bad but complain. Cause I'm too in love with my dreams. And I gotta get on the plane and go get this money with them. I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang.
I get the bag with the gang. Taking that Zach to the bank. Henny be all in my drink. You niggas is stupid, you think that should change? You not even hot in your gang. Ain't nothing even hot about your gang. You niggas be lying about same. Be posting them pictures of guns for the fame. Niggas just look at me different now. Say that's your man, but he a clown. Don't fuck around with the fuck arounds. Little nigga, you should cut it out. Me and my niggas take different routes. Punch a bitch nigga all in his mouth. Hold up my nigga, we different now. I need a Robert, this is my style. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I get a bitch today, she probably a foreign model. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I'm with my gang today, tomorrow never promise.
OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang.
Attention, please. Please do not smoke in the terminal building. Smoking is only permitted in the specified smoking areas.
Zach. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas better leave me alone. Talking about niggas is low. Run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I make that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the gang. And we put it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight. Cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day. They still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't. I'm rolling up loud, it's great. But mama, she bad but complain. Cause I'm too in love with my dreams. And I gotta get on the plane and go get this money with them. I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang. Gang, gang.
I get the bag with the gang. Taking that Zach to the bank. Henny be all in my drink. You niggas is stupid, you think that shit change? You not even hot in your gang. Ain't nothing even hot about your gang. You niggas be lying about same. Be posting them pictures of guns for the fame. Niggas just look at me different now. Say that's your man, but he a clown. Don't fuck around with the fuck arounds. Little nigga, you should cut it out. Me and my niggas take different routes. Punch a bitch nigga all in his mouth. Hold up my nigga, we different now. I need a raw, this is my style. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I get a bitch today, she probably a foreign model. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I'm with my gang today, tomorrow never promise.
OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang.
Your attention, please. Please do not smoke in the terminal building. Smoking is only permitted in the specified smoking areas.
Zach.
Thank you.
OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, Henny, he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas better leave me alone. Talking about niggas is low. Run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I make that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the gang, and we split it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight, cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day, they still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't. I'm rolling up loud, it's great. But mama, she bad but complain, cause I'm too in love with my dreams. And I gotta
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I've got the look that drives the girls while I got the moves that really move them. I send chills up and down their spines. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. Let's go. I make them hot. I make them shiver. Things get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk. They hear me talk. I make them feel like their God ain't real. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. That mic flipped up. Hands off the merchandise. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. Welcome everybody to another edition of the Pocket Locker Podcast. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast. And as always, folks, I am in airplane mode. Welcome back to the program, folks. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, and there are links in the description if you would like to donate. All right, before we get into today's program, and it is a very important, serious program that we have lined up for you today, let us go ahead and get into our communion. All right, gang, let's show them how it's done. Please raise your glasses and hold on to your asses. Through him, with him, in him, in the unity of the flying man. All glory and honor is yours who flied for our sins forever and ever. You may drink. That is our communion hymn, and this one is our communion song. It comes to us courtesy of Foy Vance. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name.
Play us out. Foy, you're going to play what to finish us up?
Do you know what? I don't know the name of this song, actually, but I know the song, and so will you.
Oh, I look forward to this. Foy Vance, take it away.
Making your way in the world today takes everything
all right, Captain
you got.
Dash, Dave was first.
Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go second. Where everybody knows your name. Well, all those nights when you got no lights and the check is in the mail, and your little angel on the countered by its tail. Your third fiancé didn't show. Well, sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and you're always glad they came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Well, you get out of bed.
All right, I got
coffee's dead.
Captive Death,
The morning isn't
Caterpillar,
looking bright.
Cameron Bennett,
You shrink right off
Apocalypse
the
Meow,
door of pine. He doesn't
UC
even
Love,
write.
Utube Punk,
Your girlfriend says she's not a girl.
Pragmatic Crystal, UC Love,
Be glad there's one place in the world where
James
everybody
Jefferson.
knows your name.
Lena's in the house.
And the
Look at the
road is glad you came.
trees.
You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same.
Colossius here.
You wanna go where everybody
AR is
knows
in the
your
house.
name. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go
cool,
where
babe, punk.
everybody knows
Nitty's
your
in the
name.
building.
Foy Vance. Most common word coming in by text, Foy, is goosebumps. Believe it or not, I've had that repeatedly across the whole series. If you want to see Foy Vance's cheeky grin when he sang the line.
All right. Well, we have got the gang in gather. UC Love, James Apperson, Maya, Cameron, Carrie Ann, YouTube Punk, and Nitty. James, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
All right. So, I kind of started. We're at the Bundy Ranch. We're in the captain's room. That's where you'll have to find us if you want to join the conversation. So I started having this talk a bit earlier with James, and I actually feel like this is one of the most important topics in this community. Matter of fact, as far as atheism goes and, making atheism more accepted, especially in our own lives, our own family and friend groups, to me, this may be the central topic in this community, because I think at the end of the day, I'm trying to get radically reoriented and realistic about what the hell is going on in our community and what we're all about. And I'm gonna hit y'all with what I think is the simple, powerful conundrum that we face. I actually think it is pretty easy to get somebody to deconvert. I think we deal with a lot of apologists and bad actors on the internet, and they are incredibly resistant to deconversion. I don't always know or understand why, but I don't think they're representative of most Christians. I think there's far more people like us who, if they really have a chance to look into it, they really have a chance to go through the evidence, they're going to quickly realize that Christianity or whatever fundamentalist faith, whatever, Abrahamic faith they believe in is ridiculous. These faiths just simply don't hold up to scrutiny. They don't hold up to questioning. So the bigger problem to me is that we won't have the conversation to begin with. And so I was listening a bit to a conversation between Wayne and Uncle Bobby Wayne and my one black friend after last night's special edition of Hot Program. And something struck me because my one black friend Wayne was basically talking about how he feels like he's in survival mode. And he's wondering if he should be more, I don't know, friendly, nice, accepting of where people are at with their faith. And it struck me like we're having the whole conversation wrong in a way that just continuously re-exposes us to the problematic abuse that got us in this situation to begin with. And to basically set up the scenario for you, the conversation went something like, my one black friend had a girlfriend back in the day. They were out on a date. Somebody starts having a conversation with my one black friend. He goes full-blown atheist mode, whatever that means. Starts giving the guy, I guess, the pushback. And eventually his girlfriend walks him off like, oh, that man is not looking for you to take his faith from him today. And it really got me thinking about why we keep finding ourselves in this position in these conversations. And I don't think it's really important to talk so much about the specifics of the situation, because I think this is a very common trope. This is a very common conversation. Oh, yeah, it was great to see Kat on James's channel today. That was great. Fantastic, Kat. It was really good to see you over on James's channel, and hope to have you call in. Hope to get to hear you out more, either on YouTube or hopefully in Gather. A lot of people are more comfortable speaking up or being on camera and things like that in Gather, where it's not public facing when we're not live. But yeah, so here's what really bothers me about these conversations. You'll often hear it said basically like, you have to, also if you're not in, I'm getting a lot of like wind noise and Gather, so if you're not talking, please mute until you speak up. I'm not sure where it's coming from. But you often hear it talked about like, you have to understand where a person of faith is coming from, because their need to proselytize to you can be justified by the fact that they believe you're going to burn in hell if they don't. Okay. I don't understand why it's okay for them to proselytize to me because they're afraid I'm going to burn in hell. But it's not okay for me to tell them I don't believe that. Somehow it's a greater violation of social norms to act out of fear that a complete stranger is going to burn in hell than it is to simply push back on that idea like, I don't think that's true. Yeah, James, are you there?
I am here.
I'm getting a lot of noise from your mic for some reason. But what do you think about this so far?
I mean, yeah, that's the situation, right?
Yeah. It bothers me. And so a couple points that to get us into the discussion. So one, I don't understand why that's more acceptable. The other thing that I don't understand is, why do we think it's okay to just keep letting people have this anxiety? I don't think religious anxiety is acceptable. Like, I don't think it's okay for people to walk around fearing that they're going to suffer in eternity and that other people are going to suffer eternally. Why don't we feel a sense of social obligation to liberate people from these repressive ideologies?
Right.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing in us just says, holy shit, a person is not okay if this is how they see the world around them. And yeah, it's a really good idea to have an intervention immediately. Like, because in a sense, these people have literally lost touch with reality.
Right.
It further bothers me, and here's the thing where it really, I think, touches home on our community. We're not being honest with ourselves and the world around us when it comes to discussing our non-belief. We are in a situation where if you're part of my community, let me just put it this way. If you're part of the gang, I'm talking to you. And if you're not part of the gang, I don't care. And I don't even know why you're watching my stream right now, because this is about us. But, dog, if you're part of the gang, we talk about counter-apologetics every single day. We are probably more passionate about anti-religion than we ever were, for many of us, when we were actually religious. You talk more about the Bible now than you did when you were fucking singing in the choir or studying to be a minister or thought you had a future in apologetics yourself. But now, even though we literally out here on the internet every single day having conversation about religion for fucking hours, we literally are trying to find a way to move, to build community with other non-believers and move beyond the discussions of religion, because every single topic that comes up is already beating a dead horse. But somehow when somebody, our actual friend, our actually family member, an actual coworker, somebody in our actual lives is an actual believer, all of a sudden we have nothing to say about this topic.
Right. And
that strikes me as not healthy for us. It puts it, I'm almost like I'm obligated to be a vocal atheist because I'm a vocal fucking atheist, James.
Yeah.
And it kills me, and I deal with this every day. Like, every day that, like, you know, I talked to my mom today, which was hard because, you know, she hit me up a couple of days ago to check in, and I've been trying to call, but it took me a few days to call because I'm trying to call during a time in a situation where I'm in the right headspace and I've got enough time set aside, because there are so many things I really need to say about this religion controversy. There are so many things I've been wanting to, and I'm like, okay, when I call back, this is gonna be the time, and I gotta arrange everything. Everything's gotta be right. And you know, days go by, and then finally I'm like, all right, I'm gonna force myself to call today, and I just don't even mention the shit.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel like a fucking coward.
Why don't you mention it?
I don't know.
Do you picture it going a certain way?
It's like it makes me a mean person to like bring it up. Like, it makes me feel like I'm being an asshole to even start the fucking conversation. It was okay for them to beat me over the head with religion every day for decades, but I'm an asshole if I want to talk about it.
Right.
And a lot of this started with, like, when I was having these thoughts in this community, I realized my family never even talks about their beliefs. Like they're all so Christian, 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 Christian. But they ain't never sat around and talked about, do we believe in a bodily resurrection or a spiritual resurrection? What does it mean? Let's talk about the virgin birth. Like, do y'all believe, you just need to believe in Jesus? You need to have some works. You need to have some good deeds up in there. How important is it really to tie? Like, they never talk about what they believe, and what makes it unique or special or whatever. It's just be Christian-y, love Jesus. It's just...
Yes. It's just words to remind each other in group, love, peace, joy, in group.
Right.
And I've seen that happen before, even historically that happened. The Anglicans, for centuries, they all shared a common church. And they all used the same religious language every Sunday and Tuesday or whatever it was that they got together. And centuries went by before somebody raised the issue of whether or not they're a Trinitarian church or not. And it wasn't the only reason it was a new controversy is because no one ever asked. So they've been talking about God and Jesus and using all these phrases. And half the congregation, like 1 million people, half of them, like not just at one church, like a whole network, half of them thought, wow, the default is we're Trinitarians. And the other half of them thought the default was we're not Trinitarians, we're Unitarians. It never came up for centuries until one day it did. And then people started talking and then like, wait a minute, of course we're Trinitarians. And the other guy would be like, wait a minute, of course we're not, right? This isn't like some new development. They were divided the whole time and didn't even know it. And it ended up dividing their church once it became official and it came to light. It's the same kind of thing. They spend so much time just using religious language and pat each other on the back.
Right.
They spend no time talking about what it really means.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. And so that started quite a while ago. It feels like maybe about a year or so ago. I don't even know. It's hard to really remember, but I just started feeling like, what the fuck? We've never even had a real meaningful family discussion about what any of these beliefs are supposed to actually mean. Or what.
I think it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I think that's the one thing that Rebecca is more honest with them than most of them about. She'll just tell you to your face, doesn't matter what it means to you. Just use the words. Like it's some kind of magic spell or something. As long as you say the magic words, it counts. And I've said this before, like you can think Jesus is a burrito and that he just got reheated for your sins, and it does not freaking matter as long as you believe in some kind of Jesus that went through some kind of death and rebirth. It doesn't matter if that his beans just got reheated, as long as you use the magic words, you're in the club, and then you get to go to paradise.
And it's so pathetic to me. It's almost like it renders the whole religion like meaningless.
It is meaningless.
And it's like that whole time, how did I not realize that the whole time I was like trying to get it right and figure this all out, and it turns out it never mattered at all.
Right, because that sense of community, that euphoric high that they call the spirit, is anesthetizing. It's not supposed to be meaningful. You're not supposed to think about it. Because if you start thinking about it, you start raising issues. It runs the risk of causing division, because then you discover it means something different to every person there.
Right. So this is the problem, gang. This is what I wanted to speak about. This point where I actually feel like your compassion has poisoned you. Compassion is supposed to be something that, yes, put yourself in another person's shoes. Think about where they're coming from. You know, that empathy, that's all wonderful. But it goes too far when you can't be yourself anymore. it goes too far when I'm suffocating and I literally can't speak to thoughts that are bothering me about our relationship every single day. And I can't say it because all you have to do is indicate that this is an uncomfortable conversation for you, and I'm immediately the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so unfair. And I see the same thing in our community. I see the same thing. It's why we have to stop being accepting of everybody. I really realize this. It's like we are bending over backwards because we're so afraid that people who come to our channels to bully us will accuse us of being bullies. There are people who come to our channels so they can hate watch us, so they can antagonize our live chat, so they can undermine just about everything that we say out of our mouths, or at least the entire purpose of whatever the conversation is that day, or whatever that stream is, right? Mm-hmm. And rather than just say fuck off and block them, which would save us and our community a whole lot of grief, we literally feel obligated to include them. We have to treat them as good, if not better, than we treat our friends and our mods so that they don't accuse us of being unfair. When they knew we were trying to take a stand for something and they came there to undermine it the whole time. They literally didn't come, they had no intentions other than basically to make us look stupid in our own spaces. And we have to feel bad if we're like, fuck off. Like, there's something really, really not right here, y'all. This just not, it's not okay. It's not okay. And it's making me feel like I just have to get more comfortable being a fucking asshole. Mm-hmm. Because I just live in this soft, gray, amorphous world where everybody's got the Midwest curse, that Midwest nice bullshit. Literally just where you just have to be so polite to everybody that it's like the you won't take a stand for anything, so you'll fall for everything type of shit.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but that's the issue. That's the issue. And the thing that's happening in our community is like the same thing that happens with friends and family. I don't even like watching sometimes our community placate some of this shit, which bothers me because I know I've made my own shit hard to watch when I do it.
Yeah. And
it's like I don't even like, you know, it makes me like not want to watch certain content creators. It's kind of like if Nate or Derek or somebody, they just have somebody on who's like not in your lane or not on your, you know, the mood you're in that day or the wave you're trying to ride at that particular moment. You probably don't even watch the stream, you know? Mm-hmm. But you feel a real sense of disappointment because you're like, damn, like, you know, I wish I was, you know, on the same vibe as everybody. That's where everybody's hanging out right now. But like, I don't even want to listen to this shit, you know? That's how certain personalities in this community make me feel. you know, but it's not that I'm not enjoying the stream that day, or it's not that I'm not enjoying the topic. It's just like I can't stand a particular person, you know. It's why Gather's not for everybody. You know, it really is, you know, a situation where there's certain people I can't stand the sound of their voice. I can't be exposed to that because it'll make me like it'll make it hard for me to be hanging out with everybody because I don't want to listen to this motherfucker.
Right.
So yeah, man, that shit is taking me back, man. It's crazy, but I don't know, man. A lot of us, I think, are falling into this way too nice thing. And it just gets to a point where you can't even say what you want to say. You can't even have a standard for yourself and how people treat you or how people act in your spaces. And it's a tactic that especially a lot of these right-wingers, these apologists, these conservatives, they use it against us. You know, every time we put our foot down, they tell us we're canceling somebody or we're fucking being too woke or we're trying to create safe spaces, all this type of shit. And you're like, are you fucking serious? Like, man, whatever, fine, fuck it. Like, I don't care. So, yeah, to be honest, man, it feels like they're punking us, man. It feels like they're punking us.
I feel that. So JG, for example, I mean, that's the one example that's on our mind right now, right? It came through my channel today. And we were on one of the most sensitive issues that our community wrestles with. That our community and billions of other people like us, right? Or millions at least, across the world. One of the most important and sensitive issues around. And we're having a great stream. And here comes JG talking about how, you know, it's sick and wrong and we got to protect children from it. And people, you know, put them on mute. And I've told my mods that before. I'm like, that's why I got the wrench, right? You know, if somebody's turning their space into toxic.
Hang on. Hey, Dave, can you mute your mic just till James is done? Thanks. I don't know why I get a lot of wind noise in Gather from people's mics. Go ahead, James.
Right, then just go ahead and just like somebody like JG, go ahead and, you know, warn them, put them on timeout, ban them, whatever it is you have to do. Right? Keep your space safe and sane because I don't always catch it. I'm busy talking, I'm distracted. Take care of it. So I got the wrench. So, you know, I don't mind that at all. No, we didn't used to have that arrangement, but it needed to happen. So, but I did tell them that I can make time to have a discussion with them about it. Now, when I said that, my thinking was, you know, an opportunity to educate him, an opportunity to walk him through the paces and help him see where he's gone wrong. Is that realistic? Probably not. But at least I had the good sense to say, not here, not now, read the room.
Sure.
That's not where we're at. That not, you know, and I even explained some of the reasons why. And do I think he understood it or respected the reasons why? Probably not, but I offered him anyways.
Yeah.
Every moment is a teaching moment, you know. He can stay to be taught or he can leave in a huff. It's up to him. So then the issue is, should I ever sponsor that? And I realize if I do, it's going to be controversial in the community, even if I warn them in advance. I've been thinking about it, and you're right. So maybe I should completely not humor it at all, or maybe I should have him do his own video on the topic, and then if I think it's worth my time, I'll do a response video. I'm not sure which way I want to go with that. What do you think?
I don't know anymore. I really don't. You know, even the Robert Price shit's been weighing heavy on me. You know, like, I don't think most people in our community are like upset with the way we handled it, but you know, Oz really did give me some shit to think about, right? And I'm like, what is the good of having these conversations where people are going to say potentially hurtful things or or bring up sensitive issues only to demonstrate that they're still not getting it. If there really aren't there yet, like I felt like we dodged a bullet, if that makes any sense.
That's what I wanted to bring
ahead,
up.
Dave. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks, Dave. Let me just say thanks so much for calling in, man, because we don't hear from you enough. But thanks.
Hi,
man.
everybody.
Good to hear from you, man. What's up? Let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, I wanted to bring up the thing was when we were raised, and even generations prior, you always heard you don't talk about those things. And I like to bring up that my mother and my grandmother loved Liberace. Everybody knew Liberace was gay, but nobody talked about it. You know what I mean? It was they didn't say bad things about gay people or nothing else. I remember my mother and grandmother were thrilled to death the year that Liberace came to town. They got dressed up to go to the show. It was a big event.
Sure. Yeah.
It wasn't that, nobody, I never heard them say any bad words about gay people, you know what I mean? But it was that generation of you just didn't say anything. Right. And I think that has been the problem that's held over. And what you were just saying, how do you engage with, about social issues or with religious issues or anything else when it's been told, shh.
Yes.
You don't talk about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's hard too because it doesn't seem to be the pressure on the other side. It's still okay to talk about your religion. You're just not allowed to talk about people's religions for some reason, right? And then it's still okay to bring these social issues up out of nowhere. But people treat you like you're rude if you push back or if you silence that. Like if you're like, no, sorry, we're not gonna tolerate that here. Then people are like, oh, y'all just want to be in an echo chamber. It's like, no, we just don't. Why do we have to tolerate that? And here's the thing. Like Uncle Bobby talks about this, like the consequences. The 5 minutes after, James talks about the social physics. I say you touch that stove, you get burned. It's like. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, man. Not everybody owes you friendship, and I do think our community is going to hurt itself or limit our growth if we have to work hard to get along with people who aren't working just as hard to get along with us. And that's kind of where this thing is coming from, man. It's like, these people are not our friends, and then when we have to treat them like they are, we're not able to stick up for or create a comfortable space for our friends. It's like it's really weird. Like even with the Bob Price situation, like I had this kind of moment, and I think Neil and maybe Derek are even on the same pace. It's like Paige is like, it's not that you're not willing to do the work with somebody who is actually trying to get better, but it's not, at some point it's not worth the risk. Like you start to realize, man, there's real risk with these people. And I don't want to risk turning off people that I care about, that I'm 100% in alignment with on these issues, and that are there for us day in and day out. I mean, it's even like the situation with Doug and some of those people. I'm actually kind of glad Nitty's here, but like one of the real situations with that was part of what I was trying to raise awareness to, and I had my own emotions, so probably didn't necessarily always do the best job, but I was trying to really make the point of like, you can lose the support of people in this community because of your association with other people. And we don't always have those conversations off stream. And matter of fact, we don't always have those conversations. But it is a real phenomenon, right? So if I actually started palling around with Kent Hovind, like at some point there was a joke, like, oh, Jay and Kent, they had a nice conversation together. They should do this every Friday. Now imagine literally every Friday I'm gonna just sit around and eat bagels and have a good pal around with Kent Hovind, right? Eventually it's gonna be a lot of y'all are like, yeah, I don't really watch Jay's Friday show with Kent, you know? Like that's not my thing. Do you know what I mean? And for a while, a lot of people would be like that. They're like, yeah, I tune in the rest of the week, but that Friday shit with Kent, that's not really my thing, right? But then there's to be a lot of people who would be like, and come to think of it, I have a pretty hard time getting excited, Saturday through Thursday, because I know that guy, I know he's just getting us set up for that goddamn Friday show with Kent Hovind again. And so you do really, and again, look, folks, this isn't cancel culture. It isn't the woke mob trying to fucking delete your presence. It's people getting to make choices about what makes them comfortable, what doesn't, what they want to follow, what they want to pay attention to, what they don't. And a lot of it is off of vibe. And part of that vibe is who the fuck do you associate with and what are the qualities of those associations. So if our community just becomes a place where everyone is welcome, you could be as far right or as far left as you want to be. You could be as religious or as unreligious as you want to be. When it comes to people who are actually like-minded, they might not be feeling that because they're just like, they're like, why? Like, these people just keep the door open to everybody, and so it's no longer a fun space to be amongst like-minded folks. So there's a real thing, like, we have to think through. Go ahead, right. James or Dave, whoever.
That's what I say. Any of the sites or channels or anything that I engage with, quote, the other side, check what I'm saying. Check what I'm posting.
Yes.
I irritate a lot of people, but I try to be, I try not to go, name calling or any of that nonsense, right. So I don't get bounced. But like earlier today, I was all over SJ's chat and I was challenging almost everything she said, which mostly is straw man after straw man about atheists, which I made a video about. An atheist does not mean you're a scientist. It doesn't mean you're a historian. It doesn't mean you're a theologian. It doesn't mean any of those things. And she just continuously strong atheist this, atheist, and it's like, there I am in the chat. No, that's a straw man. It's like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a historian. I'm not any of those things she's saying. So it's a straw man. There I am.
Yeah. So
and I see Nitty there too. He's on it too.
Yeah. So, James, you were asking about that, right? Like, how do we go about this? I don't know. I honestly don't know. So Oz brought up this point of maybe you let people know, maybe you make it private or you put it behind a paywall. Mm-hmm. So it's not as public facing. Maybe you have the... See, I think those are the type of events that you could potentially do in something like Gather, right? Where it's kind of an in-between. The community can be there, but, more of a safe audience and it's offline, that type of deal. I think we have that option available to us now. But yeah, overall, I really don't know. I know for me, I think it's just becoming like clearer where I stand. So, for instance, if I'm going to debate Sal, then I'm going to set something up and let people know when I'm debating Sal. I'm not going to probably pal around and have a back and forth with them every day in my chat.
Right.
But you know, again, but I'm not going to be in a situation where anybody's going to think that we're friendly. You know, so
I've engaged with Sal. He doesn't like me.
Yeah, he doesn't like me either. But yeah, there is a thing, James. I don't know. You know, I definitely have the answers. I know for me, I'm just kind of losing interest.
In dealing with these bad faith actors?
Yeah, dealing with bad faith actors, dealing with people who are not like-minded. Yeah, it's irritating. It kind of it feels like I want to hang out with my friends and I got to keep around all these people I'm not friends with. Go ahead.
AR said I don't look old, but I'm pushing 60 years old, so you know I'm tired of it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've heard it more than some of these folks in the chat and stuff probably been alive.
Right.
You know, I'm with you. I mean, it gets so old, especially like I say, along comes some 20-year-old that just saw a YouTube video telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's like,
right.
You know, it's like, yeah, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay.
It's even like online gaming, right? Like where if we're playing GTA, a lot of times if we're trying to hang out and have fun, a lot of times we're in a private session because you know, if you're in a public session, you're going to be getting blown up by 12-year-olds. And if you have the
and you get beat by them too.
You get beat by them, yeah, and then and then they'll be saying all types of crazy stuff to you in the chat, right? And you just get to a point where you really don't want to deal with that after a long day at work. You just want to come home, unwind with your friends, relax, and have your own space. But yeah, let me talk a little bit more about sort of the interpersonal aspects, right? Because that's really what was motivating me, was the feeling of not being able to have these conversations in my real life. The conviction that I actually think for us, talking someone out of religion is really the easy part. I can't imagine a conversation that would come up that most of the people in our friend group wouldn't be able to handle. The issue is the social pressure that keeps us from having the conversation to begin with.
Yeah.
I managed to irritate people. I quit. So many people kept asking me to be parts of channels, be mods, be contributors, and I always, well, I don't like to be told what to do. Oh no, you post whatever you want. Yeah, that never lasts very long.
Dave, what about in your personal life? What about with friends and family?
As far as religion goes,
yeah.
I've had a few clashes with my brother-in-laws, but the one I'm cool with. The other one, he's kind of really far religious. So,
do you feel are there people in your life where you feel like you avoid it? Because that's the issue here to me is it's not an issue if you're not avoiding it. The thing I consider to be compassion poisoning is when you feel so bad about making somebody else feel bad that you can't say what you need to say.
Well, there's a nice old lady across the street, okay, and I've known them ever since I moved in, okay, and she was saying something to me the one day about, well, it's God's plan, and the shtick, everybody's heard it,
right?
And I just smiled and said yes, because she's a very nice, sweet old lady. She's already has some dementia issues and other health issues, and I'm not going to argue with the old lady about God. I just
right.
But when some 20-year-old comes up to me, you don't know what you're talking about, you big dummy, then I just might engage him.
Yeah. Somebody asked, it's this whole thing has really been about social consequences. Absolutely. All right. So Lena asked, "What's
I've
the
said
tuck
before,
situation?"
I've been lucky.
Is Stephanie here?
I've been lucky, so.
I was gonna ask Stephanie about it, but Stephanie's not here.
Yeah, I'm not the one to ask about the, even though I grew up, in a very quote religious area, it's always been kind of blue around me. So, yeah, you went to church, but there was never the hellfire stuff, or you know what I mean? So like I always tell people, I got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, so for me, like, gang, I'll be honest with you, Tux is an example of this compassion poisoning. The situation with Tux is that's another one of those situations where not a personality I have any interest in. Like, I don't know what to do with these personalities where I don't know. I think there are people who insist on being a part of our community, even though they're clearly not in lockstep with it. And so I think, Tux to me I meant what I said. I don't have any interest in having any mutual friends with Pine Creek Doug. I think Tux still considers Doug a friend. As such, I don't consider Tux a friend. Period, end of story. But for those that I think have continued to notice him around places, he's continued to be problematic. He continues to defend Doug in chats. When we had the Francesca Strava-Capulu situation, he basically is the person who said that he didn't think the cup-sized comment was that bad. Really? You didn't think the most misogynistic comment in this whole episode of misogyny was that bad? No. And then it's just always that tip, right? Tux thought that, it's important that we have the right to speak out against Pine Creek, but he's gonna fight for people like Doug's rights to say what he needs to say. Like, this is gonna sound a little fucked up, but I just don't have any time for the white guy equivocating thing, and then it's the don't tread on me bullshit, right? Where again, it's just social consequences, and instead of taking a stand for what's right, people want to stand against there being social consequences for not doing what's right. So you have a person like Doug in your life, he's a fucking asshole. He goes out of his way to be a fucking asshole all the time. People are like, yo, dude, it kind of makes us uncomfortable that you're friends with this fucking bigot, right? And instead of being like, yeah, let me go speak to that bigot real quick and be like, yo, bigot, stop being an asshole. And on top of that, you being an asshole is starting to have consequences for me. No, they don't push back on the bigot. They push back on us. Oh, how dare you want to exclude me from stuff because I'm friends with the asshole. Oh, why? Oh, well, no, you guys, you can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to say. You can't tell me who I can and can't be friends with. Nigga, ain't nobody trying to tell you who to be friends with. I'm just telling you, if you're friends with that person, you can't be friends with me. I got every goddamn right to decide exactly who the fuck I associate and don't associate with for any reason I choose or choose not to. Any arbitrary reason at all. Now, if you don't care enough about me to take a stand and be like, I'm not going to be friends with somebody who clearly says hurtful things to people like you, then to me, I'm allowed to have a fucking standards for who's in my life, and to be like, if you don't meet that standard, I don't want you around. And I don't understand why people don't get that. But it's like, that's when they want to buff up. That's when they want to poke their chest out. That's when all of a sudden they've got the biggest pair of balls and they're going to take a fucking stand against the tyranny of there being social consequences for their behavior. But they can't take a stand against the actual assholes in the room. It drives me fucking crazy. And then, but the bigger problem is, our community will have conflict in it regardless. There are consequences for bad behavior, and there are consequences for associating with people who are constantly doing the bad behavior. So here's one of those consequences. If you continue to associate with people, people are not going to want to associate with you. If I continue to associate with those people, then I undermine the potential of what I'm doing because other people don't want to be around those personalities. So that's the part that people don't understand. People want to go, oh, well, Jay will say if Tux is friend or whoever is the friends with Doug, he don't want to hang around him. No, what you don't understand is people already don't want to watch so-and-so's channel because they're friends with Doug. People already will stop watching their friends if Tux comes on. So now I put myself in a fucked up situation where people don't want to watch me if those people are on. People don't want to be and gather if so-and-so is going to be hanging around. I don't want that. So your ass just isn't invited to gather. You can be mad at me if you want, but I'm not going to lose the faith and support in, enthusiastic participation of my community because I don't have enough of a backbone to let people know where the lines are. So for me, it's like, I'm going to let people know where the lines are. You cross them, there's consequences. I'm really sorry. But people got to understand, that's the difference. I'm not saying to somebody, oh, you're a bigot, I'm going to treat you, or you're friends with a bigot, we're going to treat you just as bad as we treat the racist. No, we're not. Nobody's saying that. We're just saying if you want to keep being friends with the racist and the anti-racist, eventually them anti-racists might not like you as much. That's just how it works. And those consequences are happening whether I decide to talk about it or not.
I can be brutal and I can be brutally honest. And, again, maybe I'm lucky in that, but I mean, I've maybe there's a few friends that, really don't talk to me as much because of my views, but my friends, we still talk like we always have, even the ones that we have disagreements. So, I mean, again, I just, I guess I'm lucky, you know what I mean? And my heart always goes out to, people that have had all these situations. But again, I don't know. The group I grew up with, you disagree with something, you have your, disagreement, and then you say, hey, good seeing you again, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow. You know what I mean?
So but I think most of us
didn't escalate. It didn't escalate to all this ugliness.
Yeah. But that's because you probably don't have a lot of those people in your life. I'm willing to bet. Go ahead, James.
I did notice that when Trump had lunch with those white supremacist, anti-Semitic people, even most of the Republican GOP people were like, yeah, that's a problem. Even they saw, you got to draw the line somewhere. You can't be associated with that shit because that just makes you look like you're endorsing, you're in bed with or whatever, that kind of people. If you're trying to let people know you ain't for that, then you can't sit there and have lunch with these people. So if they can understand that, then I can understand that. But this is not normal disagreement shit. This is just a different domain, and I get that too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
like I don't want, and I'm glad that JG doesn't stop by every day or even every week to say something, but he stops by often enough, but usually just to like challenge me because I'm an atheist and he thinks we're all idiots and whatever else. Like he's not actually stopping by to like be part of the community. You know, I'm trying to be cool with them, but you're right, we probably do go too far for that shit. So I don't know. Like I'm off.
Being a dumb doesn't work either. Because if you say, okay, I'm a dummy, explain it to me. They can't do that either.
No, they can't. They won't. They just pulled that whole Darth Dawkins bullshit. They just play games. They're not there for a real conversation. They're not there to teach or educate. They're not there to understand and learn. They're not there for anything other than be tribal assholes. Right? That is it. So
yeah. Also, there's just this thing. It just feels like this demand. Like everybody feels this sense of entitlement to other people's spaces. Like
right.
that feels very weird to me. So yeah, I don't get that. But for me, and some of it is just you're learning through your lived experience. So for me, I'm learning like, okay, I'm not really here for the wide open YouTube thing. I'm really gravitating more towards my people. Okay, like maybe I don't know. Maybe I only value very limited interaction with the other side because, you know, I get like Uncle Bobby. Like I just don't even find the engagement worth it after a while.
Right. Well, they are proceeding under the narrative that if we disagree with them, then we haven't finished our exploration of the issues. And if we don't continue every time, and as their students, then we aren't interested in the truth. And they don't get that we have completely explored the issues much more honestly, much more objectively, much more truthfully and deeply than they have. And so they're the ones that are behind, right?
Right.
And if they can't understand that, then they can't. Or if they maybe they do and they're pretending not to. It's kind of hard to say sometimes, but
right.
We know when we're being gaslit. We know when they're manipulating us and they're bad faith actors. They're not seriously considering what we have to say. They're just there to be antagonistic and tribal and mean and vengeful, and you know, we can tell the fucking difference. Even if they're trying to say it calmly, we can tell the damn difference.
Right.
So the more I think about this, I'm just going to tell JG, for example, I'm like, look, if you want to talk about something on your channel, talk about it on your channel. If you think there's something there you want me to respond to, link it to me and I'll look at it. And if I think there's something they respond to, then I'll do a response video. Right. Then I'll decide if that's what I want to spend my time on or not.
Right.
But, you know,
right.
he was behaving so badly in chat. He was behaving way worse than Math Pig was that day. And I told Math Pig, you can't come on if you're going to behave that way in chat. So if I'm going to hold Math Pig to a certain standard and he's, you know, part of our extended community, then sure and shit, I need to hold JG to at least that standard. So, yeah, I'm just not even going to have him on my channel.
Even like Rebecca, like one thing I'll give Rebecca credit for is sometimes, James, you and I will be there and you know we are up to no good. We do not like this raggedy bitch, right? But she'll just ignore us, right? Because even she understands I don't have to. So she'll pick and choose, you know, if she wants to smoke or wants to play spicy Rebecca and she thinks there's a comment that she can respond to that makes her look tough, she'll do it, right? But if she recognizes somebody like is there just a flamer, she has no problem completely disregarding every comment you make because she just and in that sense I'm genuinely paying her a compliment. Like that's how most streamers
she's
are.
owning her space.
She's owning her space, right? Yeah.
And that is her space. So yeah, I mean, people don't respect that. They feel entitled to it. They're not respecting you.
Right. And yeah, and so even when I'm flaming her ass and she's ignoring me, I don't get bitter about it, because I'm like, that's just every right in the world to be that way. And to be honest, I even sometimes think she should block me. Now that's her thing, right? She would rather the engagement, right? She'd rather the antagonistic comments still hype up the chat, get the engagement going, get everybody riled up. She just doesn't want to deal with it herself, right?
Right.
But guys, look,
I did a private group with her, by the way.
Oh, really?
So, yes, me and Lance and Speed, we participated in a private group with Rebecca.
How'd that go?
Oh, when was it?
It was similar, except that you know, she had to engage with us because it was just like a half a dozen of us, so there was no picking and choosing.
And this was off. Was this
like
offline?
me and you sitting here. It was in a private private StreamYard thing we did for 6 weeks, watching a it's one of those series that tries to, you know, change your mind. A lot of hard luck stories. I like to bring up Mr. Stabby.
Wait. It's about trying to convert you to theism or atheism.
Yeah, it was a video series that some guy over in England does, and it basically, they, you know, it has a lot of hard luck stories in it. Basically, people that, you know, had all kind of hard luck issues, either in jail or with drugs or something like that, and then they found Jesus.
They found Jesus. Okay, so
and I kept bringing up, you know, why is it that Mr. Stabby gets to go to heaven and I don't?
Yeah, right. Fantastic questions, Dave.
Mike,
I always love that.
Mike told her, Rebecca, never show this video to an atheist again.
Now, this wasn't on YouTube though, right? It wasn't on anybody's channel.
No, it was private.
Private. Yeah. That's I thought you were getting at. Now, see, people can use something like because you know. StreamYard's like Gather like that. Like you could just sit down and Zoom and use it. Yeah, so that's great. That's
where I got her to admit, well, maybe you just don't need God, Dave. And I said, thank you.
But see, that's scary too, right? Because it's like she has those experiences and still doesn't make a dent.
Well,
but I was wondering,
but that's why I try to tell people that's where we're at. You know what I mean? Rebecca and I are at. Rebecca is not trying to change my mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? She gave up on me. I'm a heathen. I'm doomed. So she's not. Some of the other folks, she likes to say, I still have hope for so and so, and I still have hope for so and so. She, not for me.
Not for you.
Yeah, but
we've reached that point where she's like, okay, so.
That's the thing I was talking about earlier, where there's the insults with the compliment hidden inside, and the compliment with the insult hidden inside. So when she says she's given up on you, that's a compliment. That means she's recognized that you're a strong person who can think for themselves,
right,
and it can't be manipulated by her bullshit. She knows. It's not like she honestly thinks that what she's saying is true. She doesn't give a fuck if it's true or not, right? She's just there to feed her ego. And if you're not going to lend yourself as a potential source of food for her parasitic ego, she got no goddamn use for it. It's that simple. It ain't about truth to her.
I did get Atheist of the Month though.
Yeah, you did, because
and Mike, if you're listening, you didn't get one.
You didn't get one.
I have never been Atheist of the Month.
No, any of us could have been if we would have played it differently, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I could. And I'm not saying anybody.
I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know about it. She just, and I was like, oh, okay. But again, she invited me to her channel. I met Rebecca through another channel. She said, if you come on my channel, the topic was, why don't more atheists show up on this theist channel? And my comment was, because you either block us or call us demons. So Rebecca said, if you come on my channel, I won't block you and I won't call you a demon. And she hasn't. So I participate. I participate because that's kind of our deal. So that's just where everybody knows where we're at. Right. So it's just,
Yeah.
She kept up her end of the bargain. She hasn't blocked me, and she hasn't called me a demon. So I'm not going to back off on my end of the deal where, okay, I'll engage on your channel.
Fair. I mean, you do you. But yeah.
However, if she calls me a demon,
sure.
I just may make a response video saying, you know, hey, you said you wouldn't call me a demon. So
Iron Charioteer said Rebecca was losing money with Atheist of the Month. Yeah, but yeah, so she's just, I don't know, she's boring.
Oh,
but yeah,
and not with me, by the way.
Yeah,
I told her to keep the money and to put it back into her channel.
That was an example of she was just an example of somebody who actually does control their space based on knowing where people are at. But yeah, I don't know, man. This bothers me even more in the interpersonal real world, because here's the thing. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that we're a lot bolder online than we are with friends and family. And I think maybe not you, Dave, but not every single person, but as a group, right? As a group, most of us are far more intimidated by our grandparents than we are by Rebecca Davis.
Yeah, because we have something to lose when it comes to family. We don't have nothing to lose with Rebecca. Who cares if we never see her again?
Yeah.
The only thing I ever heard from one of my grandparents was, "You don't cuss or the lightning bolt will get you." That was, you know, and it's pretty much innocent. You know what I mean? You're trying to get the kid not to cuss, you know, or whatever, you know. And it was grandma, but that was my extent of hellfire threats or anything of that like, was that if you cuss, the lightning bolt's going to get you. That was it.
Yeah, that's probably a better experience than most of us have, and you know, you were probably lucky, but yeah, I'm definitely trying to focus on those of us who aren't so lucky, because I think that's a real problem, you know, because again, the issue is, at least in my case, that it's a source of real suffering, and I don't understand why the pain of not being able to talk about what religion's done to you isn't acceptable, because it would hurt the feelings of the religious people in your life. I mean, it literally feels like telling battered women they can't discuss the pain their spousal abuse has brought to them because it would hurt the feelings of their abusive spouses. Who gives a shit? And it literally gets to the point where, like, we're having these super fucked up conversation with atheists where we're literally in community with each other and we're trying to talk to each other about a social situation or a conversation we had or a conversation that's coming up. And we're literally like in an atheist support group. And as soon as we have the conversation, the first thing out of our own friends' mouths will be, well, you got to remember where they're coming from. You got to think about where they're coming from. You got to remember God is their great imaginary friend. God is like their blanket. They're big serious. And I'm just like, can my friends be more concerned about my suffering than the people that are causing me to suffer? That'd be great.
And that's just another way of saying don't talk about it.
100%. Go ahead,
because
James.
you can't say anything because they're going to get offended.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So you're back to square one.
Right.
And again, but they can say, hey, you're going to hell, or hey, you need to go to church, or this, and this. And if I say, I don't want to go to church and I don't believe in your hell, oh, you're hurting my feelings.
Right.
Right. So
didn't you think you were hurting my feelings, wishing me to eternal damnation? Maybe. No, that's okay, right? Okay.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead, James.
I mean, yeah, exactly what he's saying is in the Dark Matter 2525 video about hate speech. So, but the longer, like I said, the longer videos, the theorem and trees.
Yeah, we might do. Maybe I'll do the Dark Matter 2525 one, and then do the theorem and trees tomorrow night or something. Make a weekend out of it or something.
We have done the Dark Matter one before.
I think we have. Yeah, it's a shorter one. Yeah, I remember seeing this one. Actually, I'm gonna. I need to take a little quick break, so I'll play it while I do that. I'll be right back.
Okay.
But yeah, and then we can talk. We can discuss it.
If you don't agree with me, then after you die, you're going straight to the pits of hell, where you'll be tortured in agony for all of eternity. I will bask in the never-ending glory of heaven, forever happy, while your flesh is being burned in a lake of fire, and you deserve every minute of it. I don't believe that, and it's pretty ridiculous.
That's hate speech, you bigot! Oh my god, are you for real? Is this real life? I mean, is this actually happening right now? That's incredibly offensive! We have to boycott something. We have to write to our congressman. Somebody call Fox News. This is America, you commie! So either stop expressing your nonconformist views or get out! This is the same kind of religious persecution that led to the Holocaust! I tell you what, mister, you stay away from me and my family. I'm blocking you on Facebook and Twitter. Why are you oppressing me? Jesus said we would be persecuted. Why won't you respect my belief that you deserve death and torture? Why?
Persecuted, huh? Really?
Good evening from New York.
Dan Barker has a good video called The Good News that everybody should check out too. It's similar.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just the thing that I just keep coming up is that I just keep feeling in these conversations, even most of our conversations, right? Like, we have so many of these conversations where it's almost like examples of the left eating itself, where we'll literally have a conversation with somebody and then, like, there's almost more pushback. The atheists have more pushback for the atheist than they do the theist. And it's, you know, you're too nice, or you're too mean, or there's no, you know, and then we're always constantly like debating each other on who's like saying our thing the right way, as opposed to just being like in the corner of the people who are saying our thing. It's just so weird that we're continuously putting the needs of the religious people before our own when we're here to fight against religion. It's just so it's uncomfortable, gang. It makes me uncomfortable. Like, I'm not comfortable with it.
My policy is I will listen, but you have to listen back.
And these bad faith actors might agree to that, but they're not going to hold up that end of it.
Yeah,
they're not
that's
really
the
gonna be
problem.
listening.
That's the issue.
Not one of them has showed up on my channel yet either.
Yeah, and with my own friends and family, it's like they can't get through a conversation without slipping into their God mode of language. But it feels so unfair that they take our journey from us in that way. Oh, it's actually very hurtful. You know, even in my own desire to, you know, get people to leave Christianity. I hate to say it, but I feel like I have a similar motivation to theirs. I think their whole thing is bullshit, and I think it's like a really important thing that I get to say it. And yeah, and I'm like, dude, I feel just as strongly about my atheism as you do about your Christianity. And I'm not even like you said, I'm not even asking for the right to go door to door, or like I'm just asking to be able to talk to people in my life about the fact that I don't believe this thing I was brought up to believe, and then I've dealt with a whole lot of trauma after deciding I don't believe that anymore. And it can be the same way sometimes on YouTube, where it's like I just came here to connect with, you know, the community. I don't want to have to protect the feelings of people who don't agree with me. It's another thing, like, where I feel like it's why I don't want Gather to be an extension of YouTube, right? Where everybody's here and everybody's welcome, and then I wake up in the morning and I haven't even gotten dressed yet, and I just want to shit all over Jesus. I've got to worry that, you know, somebody who thinks Jesus is Lord is going to feel the need to defend him, and now I've got a freaking open panel discussion thing going first thing in the morning, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
We're on fire for not the Lord. Goddamn right, AR. On fire for not Jesus. All right, gang, look, I'm a shooter in the head relatively early. We'll come back over the weekend. I've got some more interesting conversations for us to have, and
well,
some more video stuff
when
we'll
you
check
get
out.
down, when you get down, remember the nuns are still the fastest growing group in the world. It may be slow, but it's still growing. So everybody keep the unfaith.
But Dave, I gotta find the strength to talk about it.
I hear you.
Oh, I gotta find the courage to talk about it, man. That's what this year is supposed to be out. All right, Iron Territory. Quick lightning round, gang. I'm gonna tell y'all some truth about Rebecca Davis right now, because Iron Territory said Becky knows the Big Bang. Here's the truth. I think Rebecca Davis knows the Big Bang is true, knows that we evolved, and she's just on the Jesus grift. I think a lot of these people we deal with, they know they're wrong. I can't see it any other way.
Well, I don't know if they know they're wrong, but it doesn't matter because Jesus overrides it. It's like I point out with Ben Carson. If you want brain surgery, he's the guy to go to. But anything else is just so far, you know, he's young earth creationism and everything else. Complete reversal, complete denial of every field of science. But he's one of the world's greatest neuroscientists.
James, what do you think? Do they know they're wrong?
They don't care if they're factually wrong. For them, truth is a factor of utility, and there is no more important utility in this world than feeding their ego. So that's all.
It's okay to lie. It's okay to lie for Jesus. Yeah. If you can get somebody to Jesus, the means doesn't really matter.
I would always say, if you're willing to die for Jesus, you're willing to lie for Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, gang, that's it. I'm gonna make some dinner. I need to have some food, and then we're gonna hang out and gather and watch some shows and play games and have fun. So come link up with us at the Bundy Ranch. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Please check out the links for James and Nitty and the rest of the gang down in the description. All right, in the name of the Darwin, the Dawkins, and the Christopherich, and science bless you all. Poof!
Zach? Why she wanna leave me alone? Saying all I do is wrong. No rights when they been left turns. Playing that she gotta let it burn. Saying that the house not a home. Sunshine cause she heard it all before. Sometimes she don't wanna be alone. Most times she don't want me gone. She don't know I try my all. She don't know I sprung in the sun, but I'm going in the winter, so we good to the fall. Remember how I told you I get it and I win. Now I'm got it, you ain't answer my call. Wonder if I've been moving too strong. Maybe I just been moving too boss. Really hate when the feeling get lost. Nowadays she just dodge my calls. In the game throwing laws like Paul. Young legend Miss John like Wall. And I wish you never met like Carl. Dick game lay it down like law. Made plans but you canceled them all. I was just trying to splurge in the mall. Now I'm home stacking bread till you call. It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking Zah. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna ride. We smoking. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl.
We smoking that side. I'm trying to get high.